today. Can Kayla Harrison save the women's bantamweight division? Also, what about Juliana Pena? Will she finally be shut up? Can someone shut her Venezuelan mouth? Also, what about Caitlin Vieira, the woman who, when the mic was given to her and she was given the floor, she took it. She took it. Oh, she gonna talk. She gonna talk. Plus, what about the legend, the GOAT that is Jose Aldo? What about Khalil Roundtree and his inspiring speech at the press conference? What about it? All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy Matt along with Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP. And we are here to talk about the stakes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about Omaha steaks. I'm talking about the stakes. What are the stakes of UFC 307? Now, I've selected just a few fighters as I try to smooth over my beard. I have selected a few fighters in which I wanted to talk about what are the stakes. What are the stakes for these fighters tomorrow at UFC 307? Currently, right now, it is Friday. Currently, I believe the weigh-ins have just started. If anything crazy goes on at the weigh-ins, maybe I'll drop back in on you guys later on. But nevertheless, let's talk about the stakes for UFC 307. So let's start out at the tippy top with the main event, right? Let's talk about the stakes of Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. For Alex Pereira, man, the stakes are heavy, right? And you don't really think about it until you really start to break it down, but the stakes are heavy for Alex Pereira because for all intents and purposes, everyone believes Alex Pereira should go out there, maybe not necessarily wash Khalil Roundtree, but he should go out there and he should beat Khalil Roundtree. You know, a lot of people are predicting a knockout finish. I believe the MMA guru said he's going to knock out Khalil Roundtree in the first round. You know, a lot of people believe that this should be a fairly easy win for Alex Pereira. But what I'm here to talk about as far as stakes is what happens if Alex Pereira loses, right? Now, homie's been talking about going back down to middleweight to fight Dricus du Plessis for the middleweight championship. I personally feel like that's a terrible idea. Even though the dude is huge, he'd be way bigger than Dricus. He'd have the range on Dricus, maybe the striking advantage on Dricus. All of this being said, to cut all of that weight again as big as Alex Pereira is, I just think you're even in the playing field too much with Dricus. You know what I'm saying? Having to starve yourself and do pretty much permanent harm to your body to drop back down to 185 pounds for this big fight against Dricus, I believe you've evened the playing field too much. And there's a good chance that Dricus might go out there and beat you when you're doing all of that, right? I mean, I believe that Alex Pereira should definitely win that fight, but when you've drained yourself that much, what are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? We talking about still Knox. You know what I'm saying? He ain't no pushover. And you're going to starve yourself and go down there with Still Knox. Still Knox might steal all your wins. You know what I'm talking about? So that's one side, right? That would definitely still be in play. I don't know if Dana White and the UFC would allow the man to drop back down, but that would still be in play. But if he loses to Khalil Roundtree, I think that takes a lot off the table at heavyweight, right? Because, you know, whether or not, who knows what's going to happen between John Jones, Stipe, and Tom Aspinall. But it takes a lot of the pep out of the step, if you will. If Alex Pereira loses to Roundtree and then talks about going up to heavyweight to fight some of these killers up there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, granted, he would still be a killer, but it just takes the sting off of it. So it's like, pretty much, if he loses to Khalil Roundtree, the only thing he can do, maybe, realistically, is stay at light heavyweight, either get the rematch against Khalil Roundtree or go out there and wash somebody else and then go back in there and get the rematch against Khalil Roundtree. Also, Israel Adesanya has spoken out recently and, really praised Alex Pereira, so shout out to him for being able to do that. And he's pretty much kind of closed the door on that chapter in their book. Like, he's pretty much talking like he doesn't think that they'll ever fight again. And he's happy. He's happy about that. He's happy for Alex Pereira. And he said he wants Alex Pereira to go ahead. He hopes that he's undefeated for the rest of his career. So that kind of feels like to me that that's a fight that probably will never happen again, right? So a lot at stake for Alex Pereira. As for Khalil Roundtree, if you can hear that, Khalil Roundtree, he playing with house money. There's not a lot of stakes for Khalil Roundtree. If Khalil goes out there and beats Alex Pereira, his career is set. He's a made man. You know what I'm saying? He gave this almost teary-eyed speech at the press conference talking about, what's standing in your way of achieving your dreams and doing what you were set out to do. And for me, what was standing in my way is myself. Shout out to Khalil Roundtree. I even felt inspired listening to him talk. With that being said, bro, if he goes out there and he beats Alex Pereira, more power to him. He's a made man. He achieved his dream. If he loses, there's not a lot at stake because a lot of people don't expect him to win, so he can just move on. You know what I'm saying? But how about the co-main event? What about Juliana Pena, the Venezuelan vixen, stepping in there with Rocky, not Leon Rocky Edwards. We talking about Rocky. We talking about Raquel Pennington. What's at stake for both of these fighters? When you're talking about the Venezuelan vixen, if you watch the UFC press conference yesterday, 307 press conference, Pena seemed like she was missing a step. You know what I'm saying? Pena seemed like she was a little sluggish, a little tired. She wasn't as quick on her feet with the wit, with the comebacks. And she kind of seemed like Kayla Harrison and Raquel Pennington. And, she just seemed like she kind of folded. And both of these women just had it in for her. And they really did her in verbally. And she kind of shrank. You know what I'm saying? She kind of shrank in front of these women. Now, a lot of people shrink in front of Kayla Harrison. You know what I'm talking about? But she didn't really have all of that, that piss and vinegar that she usually has in her promos. Which also leads me to believe, like I was saying in my preview to this fight, my prediction for this fight, I think Raquel Pennington's going to go out there and beat her. I think she's going to go out there and probably beat her convincingly. Because I think that Pena's body, when Raquel Pennington was talking about Pena's career and how she's marred by injuries, and Kayla Harrison's talking about, you're like 10-5. You know what I'm saying? And you've been around for this many years. And I'm like 18-1 or 17-1 or something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Bro, it just kind of leads me to believe, like, dude, I don't know. I'm not saying Pena's going in there with injuries, but Pena looks like she knows something that maybe the rest of us and the other two fighters don't know, and it doesn't seem to be in a positive fashion. When she was going out there against, Amanda Nunes, bro, she was talking it up. You know what I'm talking about? She was talking that talk. You know what I mean? But now it just, I expected her to have some more quips, some more rounds in the chamber, you know what I'm talking about, to let off on Kayla Harrison. who, you've accused of being on steroids and everything else. I expect her to have more rounds in the chamber for Raquel Pennington, and she didn't have any of that. So that's just really weird. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it fares for her. But when you talk about what's at stake, a lot is at stake for Pena. Because if Pena goes out there and loses, you'll look at her career and you'll think, okay, she did become champion, but that's a lot of controversy behind that because, it's kind of been put out there that, maybe Amanda Nunes didn't take her seriously, didn't train as hard, went in that fight with an injury and took a L because when she came back, she was focused, she was ready. She beat the brakes off Pena. You know what I'm talking about? Pena could not go to Breakaway. She could not go to Pep Boys. She wasn't getting ready to go pick up no parts a la carte at O'Reilly. There was no AutoZone, bro. Amanda Nunes went out there and beat the brakes off Pena, and the brakes went flying out in the audience. You know what I'm saying? So, if Pena loses this fight, her only real win in the last 4 years is against Amanda Nunes. And granted, that's a heavy win, but still though, it doesn't look good for her. You know what I'm talking about? She just doesn't have the wins, and she's more or less kind of getting this fight based out of she can talk that talk. You know what I mean? So that's all bad for her. So she really needs this win for this latter part of her career. Otherwise, her resume is looking very shaky. Let's move on from there. Let's talk about Pennington. Pennington is already overachieved. Based out of what you expect. If you look at Pennington and her whole career, she's already overachieved. You know what I'm talking about? So she's kind of in a way like Khalil Roundtree playing with house money. But there is a little bit more of a stake for her because if she goes out there and she defeats Pena, then she can say, well, I went out there, I defeated Mayra Bueno Silva. Y'all expected her to beat me. I beat Pena, who beat Amanda Nunes. And even though I lost to Amanda Nunes, it is what it is, bro. If Amanda wants to come back to the division and face me, then we can go at it. You know what I'm saying? It gives her a little bit of footing to stand on. Granted, she hasn't had the strongest resume, but she's kind of fought a who's who. And whether she beat them or she lost, she's kind of fought a who's who of fighters in the bantamweight division. You know what I mean? So Pena's kind of she needs this win, but Pennington is kind of playing with house money. But there is a little bit of a stake there because if she goes out there and she beats Pena, who is the person that defeated Amanda Nunes, it perfectly sets her up for a fight with Kayla Harrison. Perfectly sets that up. Pena wins. Of course, she's definitely set up for a fight with Kayla Harrison. But if she loses, bro, she's lost a lot. Whereas if Pennington loses to Pena, not so bad, not as big of a loss, and she can get right back in there and come back and fight for the belt again. Or Pennington could just walk away from the sport at this point. Because in my opinion, and shout out to her, she's dog tough. And she's a good fighter. She's really overachieved more than anyone ever saw her achieving in her career. I've been watching her since The Ultimate Fighter. You know what I'm saying? I was watching way back then. I'm an old head. You can tell by the gray in my beard. I'm an old head. And I've been watching Pennington fight for years. I never thought she was going to be champion. So shout out to her for pulling it off. Shout out to her for achieving that dream. But, if she goes out there and she beats Pena, that kind of puts her in a position in the division. Let's talk about Kayla Harrison and Caitlin Vieira. Bro, let's start out with Caitlin. Caitlin gave herself some stakes. Before, I just kind of thought she's the lesser of the two in a way between her and Kayla Harrison as far as how it relates to the UFC, who's more important to the UFC, what they have going on. But Caitlin went out there yesterday in the press conference and talked that talk. She really talked for a long time at one point. You know what I'm saying? Folks was like, man, I gotta go make dinner for the kids. I mean, come on, Catelyn, let's wrap it up then. You know what I'm talking about? Wrap it up then, B. But at the same time, Catelyn went out there and talked that talk, and the Brazilian translator, he talked that talk for her. So we all felt what she was saying, and she had some valid points against Kayla Harrison. She had some valid points about Pennington, about looking up to Pennington and wanting to get back in the octagon with Pennington. You know what I'm saying? And it was really cool. You know what I'm saying? It was really cool to see a fighter just be like, you know what, F it, bro. Let me talk that talk. Y'all not get ready to walk all over me. You know what I'm saying? It was cool to see that. It was cool to see her talk about the fact that a lot of people don't believe that she stands a chance against Kayla Harrison. And for her to open up the curtain, to let you peek behind the curtain a little bit on the game plan, because I don't think it was a happenstance, coincidence of her talking about or alluding to Kayla Harrison could gas out. And this was something that I don't know why, but I didn't think about. And when I was really thinking about this fight and breaking it down and giving my prediction, because I predict Kayla Harrison to win, and I stand behind that. But there's definitely a world where at altitude, there in Utah, Kayla Harrison might only have a round and a half in her. You know what I'm saying? We've seen Kayla gas out in the PFL before. She might only have a round and a half in her at altitude. And Catelyn is dog tough. You know what I'm saying? She tough. She a toughie. You know what I'm saying? She dog tough, bro. And there's a world where Catelyn could outlast Kayla Harrison. And if Kayla goes out there and wrestles her heart out in the first round, maybe utilizes some elbows but can't get Catelyn out of there, and then starts that same thing halfway through the second round. She takes her down early in the second round. She's on top of Catelyn. She lands some elbows. She's trying to do her thing, and then that heavy breathing starts. And now she's mounted Catelyn, but she's kind of on top of her, kind of like this, right? And Catelyn ain't no slouch. She even told Kayla, I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I ain't no joke. I ain't no slouch. Catelyn puts those feet on the hips, pushes her off, or sweeps her, reverses her. I know that's a hard task with, an Olympic judo background, of Kayla Harrison. But with that being said, when you're gassed and you're dog tired, bro, a lot of things become possible. Catelyn could get the fight back to the feet halfway through the second round, and then you see that dreaded, being an MMA fan, when you see your favorite fighter, not that Kayla is my favorite fighter at all, I'm just saying in general, you see your favorite fighter stand up from a ground exchange and go, and then they kind of, bruh, it's like, oh no, I done lost my parlay money. I done lost everything with DraftKings. DraftKings, holla at me. I'm out here doing the Lord's work. I'm promoting y'all every week. Holla at me. Matter of fact, MMA, you know what I'm saying? You could be a sponsor. But, bro, you start thinking, man, this money, the rent might be a little short this month because I'm about to lose this parlay. You know what I'm saying? Bro, there's a world where Catelyn could go out there and do that. With that being said, I still pick Kayla Harrison to win, but there's now a little bit at stake with Catelyn because you done talked this game. You done kind of got everyone to notice you. By far, her and Kayla's exchange with Pena, highlights of that entire press conference. So there's a little bit at stake for Catelyn. For Kayla, there's a lot at stake. You done talked this game. The UFC done spent all this money to acquire you from the PFL. You have a already made fight with the winner of Pennington versus Pena. Bro, Kayla can't go out there and lose to Ketlen Vieira. She just can't, bro. There's a lot at stake. Granted, if she took that L, she could easily, because the bantamweight division is so shallow, she could easily be right there to fight for a title again after like one more win. She loses to Ketlen Vieira, go out there and get one more win, she could be right there fighting for the title. But that takes a lot of steam off of what Kayla's doing. And what she's capitalizing on right now is we've only seen her lose to Pacheco, but Pacheco is off in the PFL, and most people, most casuals, they don't know S about the PFL. They don't know nothing about all that. They don't know nothing about Larissa Pacheco. They don't know none of that. They don't know, Diesel. Pacheco's a tank, just like Kayla. You know what I'm saying? They don't know nothing about her. So right now, most people probably don't even know Kayla is taking the L in the PFL. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, bro, there's a lot at stake for Kayla. Let's talk about Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, man, he set up there, just a classy individual. Poise, class, GOAT of the featherweight division. Shout out to Alexander Volkanovski. Shout out to Max Holloway. Shout out to possible future GOAT. Not yet, but a lot more work to do, but possible future GOAT in Topuria. But bro, Jose Aldo was doing it when y'all was fans of his, when he was in WEC, bro. Don't let that Conor McGregor 13-second knockout fool anybody. Jose Aldo's that dude, and he's been that dude. He was always that dude. You know what I'm saying? He stood in there with Merab at altitude in Utah and didn't get taken down. So, Jose sitting up there, very respectful. And I tell you, bro, there's some stakes for Jose Aldo. You can tell he wants another shot at the title. He should already got that shot at the title if the UFC wasn't playing games and threw him in there with Merab. Because, he looked great against Piotr Jan like that first round, which that shouldn't have been at his age. And Piotr Jan was on the tear at that time. If Jose wouldn't have got tired, he didn't look bad against Piotr Jan. With that being said, bro, a lot at stake for Jose. He's got to go out there. He needs to get Batista out of there. You know what I'm saying? Or at least beat him by a convincing decision. He's got to get this win, though. If he gets this win, he can go back to the table with the UFC. He can talk about making a major fight. And if he wins that major fight, he can get a shot at the belt. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got so much cachet. He's Jose effing Aldo. You know what I'm saying? He's the king of Rio. You know what I'm talking about? He don't have to do a lot to get a title shot. But at the same time, he's got to win this fight. And I believe he's got to win one more fight. And I'm going to be honest, I was watching some of the content on MMAfighting.com. Mike Heck, my dude, Mike Heck, posed an outstanding fight. If Jose Aldo goes out there and beats Batista, bro. Mike Heck posed, what if the UFC, after he heals up from his injury, signs a fight between Jose Aldo and Sean O'Malley? Just wrap it around my arm and put it in my veins. You know what I'm talking about? Bro, that fight makes so much sense when you think about it if Jose gets this win tomorrow. Because O'Malley's coming off of a loss to Merab. Jose is also lost to Merab. Now I know Umar coming. I know he's still there, and he's probably going to go on and fight for the belt, whatever. But bro, O'Malley only had one championship win, and that was against Cheeto. So, bro, you put O'Malley in there with Jose Aldo, that makes sense. That's a huge fight. O'Malley would take that fight because it's big, huge in name value. Huge if he defeats Jose Aldo, which he definitely has a good chance of doing. And if Jose Aldo wins that fight, think of how big this would be on the marquee. The UFC could sell this fight for real, for real. And if Jose beats Sean O'Malley, that's the cachet he needs. That's the win he needs to jump over everybody and fight for the title against the winner of Umar Nurmagomedov and Merab. Bro, I'm with it. Anyway, not a lot at stake for Mario Batista. You know what I'm saying? other than a loss, because I mean he's losing to the GOAT Jose Aldo. So I mean, not a lot at stake for him. If he wins, it's definitely going to skyrocket his career. But it's not like he's going to win and immediately be put in a title eliminator. So he's kind of playing with house money as well. You know what I'm saying? But interesting fights with some stakes at this show. So we will see how it all plays out, man. We'll see how it all goes down. It goes on tomorrow. UFC 307. Alex Pereira in the main event tries to defend his lightweight championship. I'm sorry, light heavyweight championship. Could you imagine this man in lightweight? A boom, boom, bam, bam. Everybody knocked out. Bro, he's going to make the attempt to defend his light heavyweight championship against Khalil Roundtree. Should be outstanding. Also, in the co-main event, Juliana Pena steps in there with the champion, Raquel Rocky Pennington. We will see how that goes down. So, man. And then also Jose Aldo versus Mario Batista. Can't wait to see that, as I just spoke about, as well as Kayla Harrison versus Ketlin Vieira. So, nevertheless, man, it goes down. UFC 307. Can't wait to see it. Please let me know your picks. Who do you got in these fights I spoke about? Do you agree with the stakes? Are there some stakes that I'm missing? Are there any fights on the undercard that you're looking to see? Please let me know. I really appreciate all the feedback I've been getting on these videos. Please like, subscribe, comment. I really want to grow this channel, really make a forum for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And once again, I do want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.